So a very warm welcome to each and every one of you here. It's a very special occasion for us today. Everybody knows Manan. So it's a kind of a big venture he's out on. You know, Manan is 24. He's just completed his law, so he's now an advocate. So he's normally called by his close friends Advocate Panchmatya. So that's a nice name to have in the family. And we remember the day distinctly when he came to our room, one of the days during the lockdown, and he said, Mom, Dad, I've started writing. So, you know, as parents, you think, okay, it's, you know, the children are saying something, you listen to it. Next day, you think you're going to ask them writing, and he's going to say, what writing, Mom? That's what we thought. But it went on for a few weeks, for a few months, and on a certain weekend, he wanted solitude, he wanted serenity. So Vijay Uncle arranged for an overnight stay at his friend's hotel. He went away, he wanted to write in peace and silence, and we thought, you know what, this is serious. So almost about, I think 20 months later now, we are into proper published book. So I'd like to introduce today's chief guest, Sudhanshu Sen. He's assistant news editor in Times of India and a young author himself. So Manan was so keen to have him. This is Sudhanshu. He's graciously come here today. Sudhanshu has completed his masters in international tourism from London. So that was a big achievement. Shiva? Manan, we had a little surprise for you. So you can have that over here. Like some photos of this. So this is something. I think you should do it for this one. It's kind of some novel thing I just heard about.
Watch this out.
Try and see. So I guess 1, 2, and 3. What's inside? What's inside?
Is everyone excited?
Yeah. We have the book.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming. So people say that we should not judge a book by its cover. Well, they do it anyway. So I mean, why not make it a book which is, you know, amazing in and out. Basically, 12 Quotidian Affairs means stuff that happens every day in our life. Every single character depicts each independent themed chapter of the book. Let's start. This is Happiness, a man who's strolling across the zebra crossing. This, if you read the book, you'll understand why this money is flying away from his pocket. Then we go to love, obviously love, pain, thoughts, motivation, dreams, discipline, family, anxiety, death, and yes. So there you have it. That's all the 12 Quotidian Affairs. And it depicts something that happens in our life every day.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Manan, for inviting me to this beautiful event. As an author, I know how special this day is for you. We all have been through torrid times during these last 2 years, and we have all faced many bad things. We have suffered a lot, and to channelize all those negativity around you in such a productive way, I think that for that, Manan, you need a good round of applause. I didn't know him, so when he told me that he has written a book during lockdown, I was slightly skeptical because just because the kind of products that have come as a result of lockdown have not been at par with what has been written before COVID. So I was just a bit skeptical, but 2 minutes into the phone call when he told me about the whole premise, the whole synopsis of the book, I was really interested in it. It just piqued my interest a lot, and it was very gracious of him. A couple of days back, he and uncle came to my office and they gifted me a book. I was one of the lucky ones to read it. So, but I was so overloaded with work that day, man. I just, we work in very odd timings. Our timings in office is like we start at around 4:30 and we finish at around 1 at night. So I went back home that night and I knew that I won't be able to read it because of my packed schedule and all those things. But then at around 1:30, instead of scrolling Instagram, I thought I'd just flip through a few pages. So I just started doing it and it just gripped. The story was so gripping, the entire, those chapters were so gripping. The next thing that I saw was the clock was showing me 5:30. And then I said, okay, I won't be able to sleep now, so why not finish it? So I made myself a karak chai at around 5:30 and then I said, "Theek hai, is baat khatam karta hai." And then at around 8:30 in the morning I finished it and that was yesterday morning. And I hated it yesterday because I couldn't sleep. I just couldn't sleep, I couldn't work. But this book will give you so many things. It's a very good cocktail of emotions that he has presented. It's a very clean writing. If someone would have given me this novel, telling me that this is written by a first-time author, I would not have believed it. It's a very clean, crisp novel. And I think the best way to describe it would be it's a very good Indian thali in a very good Indian restaurant. It will give you all those tastes of all those. It will satisfy your cravings. So well done on that. Be it anxiety, love, and happiness, death. You've just described it beautifully. So Manan, congratulations on that front, and welcome to the club.
So Manan, a little excerpt from the book.
I hope I don't wait for another lockdown to write another book. Thank you. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be reading 3 different excerpts from 3 different chapters of the book. So we begin with the first chapter. A wife had a bad day at work because of her boss. He was rude to her. She came home and took it out on her husband. The husband then, with a spoiled mood, went to meet his buddies. As he was sulking, his friends did not have a good time either. The boss was yelled by a client when a product wasn't delivered to him punctually. The packaging machine broke down, so delivery couldn't be done. The machine had broken down because the proper servicing hadn't been done. The servicing hadn't been done because the person responsible for it was underpaid. Overcome by apathy, he couldn't be bothered about his duties. Every single person in this chain has a choice of stopping the feeling of anguish caused by the person in the previous source. A choice that would prevent trouble, anguish, or inconvenience from being passed on to the next person in the chain. What if the person responsible for servicing the machinery had actually done it even though he was underpaid? What if the client was more reasonable? What if the boss acted more like a leader instead of a boss? What if the wife let her troubles be at work and the husband his troubles at home? The reason of choosing to do or to not do something may be different. It may not be influenced entirely by a party adjacent to them in the chain, but it may even be an unrelated party or event. But in the end, it's all related, it's all linked. In a way, in one way or the other, you influence others, directly or indirectly. In a way you do not have control over. Sometimes you do. We don't know how many people we affect in a single day. If you interact with, let's say, 1,000 people in your life, you influence those 1,000 people. They go on and then influence 1,000 people more. So you're 1 link away from affecting 1,000,000 people and 2 links away from affecting 1,000,000,000,000 people. Who do you think is influencing your behavior? That was the first excerpt from the first chapter.
Especially for some question and answers, because it's a very unusual topic, an unusual evening. If anybody has any questions for Manan, that would be nice. Or what made him write? Like, we definitely had a lot of questions. It's not easy to actually write a full book. You can write like a letter or.
It's a big thing he has done.
So if
Congratulations and keep it up.
Inspiration. Okay, so as Sudhanshu said, I had a lot of free time in COVID. So I've always had this fascination of writing a book. When I was growing up, I read a lot of books because my parents, they're both into fiction, so they read a lot. So when I was young, I had the exposure of only fiction books. When I started to grow older, I saw that fiction actually doesn't help you to deal with aspects of your life which are real, for which you sometimes do require external sources to help you out with. So that's when I started picking up non-fiction books, but most of them, again, seemed very bland. They were very monotonous. So that's why I have tried not to be very monotonous in my book. And the whole basis of the inspiration of this book was to help people to start thinking for themselves.
Yes, please.
First of all, congratulations. I'm sure you'll be hearing that a lot today. So I wanted to ask, so these are the 12 daily affairs that made the cut. During your brainstorming processes, there must have been many of those. I wanted to know, are there any other topics or themes that you wish to include but they did not make the cut?
Yes. So there were two specific topics that I was battling about. One was health, and the second one was First one was reading. The second one was reading. So what I've done is the underlying concepts of why I wanted to write these chapters. There are much more than 12 different quotidian affairs that I've covered in the book. But the fact that I was able to merge together some of them, that's why I could include health in a little bit of all the chapters, so that I could portray my emotions of why health is important or why reading is important. Once you read the book, you'll understand where health and reading also comes into the play. A little bit of discipline in reading and everything. So I've also written over there why I almost dedicated one chapter to reading, but I wanted to limit it to 12 quotidian affairs. So I've limited it to 12.
Any author has influenced you, or many authors have influenced you?
Many authors have influenced me. I think the most substantial one would be Mark Manson. Subtle Art. I think everybody's heard of it. So that's when I started to pick up a book and I realized it doesn't have to be monotonous. You can be funny, you can include stories, and you can still get the point across. That's when I actually thought that, I can actually be an Indian version of this dude.
Brought a lot of changes in you. I would like to know specifically who you are as a person before being an author and after being an author.
I would love it to answer for that.
Because it's a journey after that.
Good question. So before,
Mother can answer that question.
That's why you're looking at me.
so
You
before
also have a role in it. You also have a role in it.
Dr. Jaspal is my doctor, so that's fine. So, okay. So before writing the book, again, because before COVID I was very haphazard. My life was not consistent. It was not the most consistent that I wanted it to be. Still not. It's definitely an ongoing process. But what this book helped me to do is to sit down, and irrespective of whether good things are coming to my mind, I still wanted to put out something. So the book right now contains 52,000 words, but I had crossed 100,000 words. Somehow I've cut it down to less than half of what it was. So I guess a lot of the ideas that came to me was not when I started. So when you start a car, you don't go to 100. You go to 10, 20, 30, and then you go to 100. Even when you're braking, you don't go to 0. You don't pull the handbrake. You decrease your speed slowly. So once I got into the habit of writing, the ideas flowed to me very naturally. Once I started to sit, and I didn't force myself. If I couldn't think of something that day, it was fine. No one's forcing me to do this. But the habit of actually sitting down and being consistent and not saying, I don't want to write today. I'm going to sit. If nothing comes to me, then that's fine. If something is still coming to me and if I can just weed it out in the editing process, might as well do that. So there were a lot of ideas which I didn't think initially, but once I started writing them down, that's when it actually came to me. So that's essentially helped me in a lot of things in my life, because I've learned that consistency is key. I think if we give our time, dedication to anything, we can achieve anything. I mean, I don't have any academic knowledge or any formal education in writing. I literally started writing a book on Google how to write a book. So, and by the way, Google didn't help at all. You just have to develop the process by yourself.
So between soul and trillion sales, where is the peace line?
I guess that's the whole point of the book. You have to take the interpretation for yourself.
So,
I think thank you so much for the questions, and it's been lovely to have you guys. And I mean, I don't even know how to begin to thank everyone that made not only this book but this launch possible.
I'm Manan's father. And not many of his friends would know me, so I'm introducing myself. It's a very proud moment for me today that he's penned down such a wonderful book, and at this age, with such wisdom, it's a marvelous deed. I'm really proud of it. And more than me, had my father, his grandfather been here, he would have been much more happier. He would have loved it. Means he would have really cherished this moment, and I really miss him at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, so what I was saying was, I don't even know how to begin to thank everyone, because my name is there on the book, but that's not the case. I wasn't the only one who made it happen. So first of all, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity, because without His grace and guidance, this wouldn't have been possible. I wouldn't have ever been able to do this. My name is on the book, but it's so much more than that. Countless anonymous people have put in innumerable hours into the realization of this book. Beginning with the publisher, Bluewell Publications. Neeraj, if you're watching this online, I know I was a pain in the ass to deal with, but thank you for bearing with me and enduring me through everything. Crossword Praveen Bhaiya, your whole staff has been absolutely nothing but hospitable, and everyone has been very welcoming. I want to thank my closest friends, Aditya, Chellam, Dipanshu Brahmani, Aryan Shah, Tanya, everyone please raise your hands. Thank you so much. You've been there every single day of all the time that I've written this book for me, and without you guys this wouldn't have been there. This book wouldn't have been there. Honestly, they've been my rock throughout this whole thing, day in and day out, through thick and thin. Thanks guys. My parents, my brother. I mean, where do I even begin? I owe everything to them. I want to then let them know that I wouldn't be here if it weren't for their love and support. I know most people generally include that in my speech, but being on this side, I actually know that the meaning of those words and why people say that. I actually experienced that today. Lastly, you guys, my friends, my loved ones, you came here. I want to dedicate this book to all of you that made this special day for me. Today, all of us have taken part in something which is much, much bigger than any of us could ever be. When you're part of something that is bigger than you, that's when you know you've made it. All of you today, all of us today, we've made it. I love and thank each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thanks, and the books are available for sale.
Thank you so much.
Anupama, tea, coffee, please show the book.
सर बोल रहे क्या हम भी सर बोलने वाले भी थोड़ी दिन में थैंक यू सर बोलेगा मैं बिल्कुल सर कुछ क्या होगा मालूम नहीं मैं बात करूंगा